Collector.
See what?
What is it?
That was...
I can't remember what it's called. Collector box. Yes, collector booster box.
Collector's Booster Box, yes. Hi everyone, this is Chesh from Chesh, and as you can hear, I've got a very special guest in the form of Damian from Cherry Collectables. Now, you're the TCG specialist, is that right?
Yeah, I know everything there is to know essentially about Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic a bit. I know a fair bit about Magic, but Magic it's not something I grew up with, whereas I've been a massive Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Nerd since I was a wee lad, since I was little, like growing up with it, all that, I was one of those Zoomers in the early Pokemon anime boom of like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's been like, it's a big part of your life, like, and since I was like 15, I've always like sold or bought like cards. You go to events, you buy and sell online, you do a bit of eBay, and I just absorbed it all like a sponge, and I've leaned into it. It's my job now, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit jealous that you boys get to like play with cards all day. I know it's not necessarily always fun and easy.
It can be a slog. It can be a grind, especially like with what me and Dale are doing. It's a huge grind.
Exactly.
Singles is, yeah. When you think about how many cards you have to sell and what cards are actually worth money versus the entirety of cards that Cherry just has under one roof, it's a colossal effort to get everything into some form where it can be sold. It's insane. The hours are pretty crazy, and I feel I'm tired, and then Dale goes the extra mile and does a crazy amount of work on top of all that. Yeah, it's you're with like highly motivated people, and everyone kind of pushes everyone else and gets them over the line, and it's a good team to be on.
Yeah, I was saying that the other day, like, when it comes to like shops, I mean, you guys have the biggest presence for a number of reasons, and one of those is obviously, customer focus and customer facing, which is a big thing. It's not just some, sports card selling corporation. No offense, Gulf. They sponsor some of the content, but I'm always on Jim about like social media is a big thing, and you've got to get on social media, and you've got to like engage your people and get your tribe like moving on your stuff. Like, you might be making money now, but you could be making more money if you followed that example and actually got out there and were like amongst the people and putting a face to the business, which is what you guys have done really well.
Yeah, we definitely have. We've always been pushing social media from day one, and I was a bit scared at the very beginning of it. I was like, no, people don't need to see my face, and I kind of hid in the shadows for a bit. But this year, I've kind of come out of my shell more, and it's just about being genuine. Really, it's just being able to talk about whatever you really want to talk about, and you have a passion for this hobby, you have a passion for the cards, like there's the nostalgia aspect there, there's always thinking about what's coming next, always speculating, always just there's a million things running through your head, and this is one of the rare opportunities where I get to run my mouth about it all, because the boys don't want to hear about what I have to say about like this niche Pokemon card that's come out in Japan, it was available for a week and all that type of thing. So the whole business side of it's always fascinated me, and I just love it. It's just because it's just fun. Yeah.
Are we talking the latest Pikachu from, I think it was Canada, from the Pokemon store opening in Canada?
It's a couple.
The male
There's
Pikachu.
The special. Oh, yeah, the special
soccer Pikachu recently.
I tried to buy those.
Yeah, we all did.
Couldn't get any.
You can get them at $45.
Oh, they're expensive. They're like $100 each.
Oh, they got up now. Well.
Yeah. So I tried to buy them, but every person I bought them from cancelled, which is really sad.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even get one for my collection, which is really annoying. Yeah.
That's why I don't technically collect. I don't really collect as such as like mini invest is probably the better way to describe how I collect cards, which is like, if it's a Squirtle, I'll buy it because Squirtle. But like, I don't go out of my way to like try and collect a set or a subset or a promo set. Like even with basketball, I mean, sure I go crazy about Carson Edwards, but it's like, you know, the guy shows promise, and at some point I know I can probably offload the cards for like 3 times what I bought them for. And I've never really been like that with like Pokemon or anything like that. So
it's Pokemon's just fun. I'll collect, as in I'm collecting cheap things though. Like everything that's kind of expensive now, I was lucky enough to get it like years ago because and I've kind of, you know, completed a lot of my collection goals, but it's basically, it lets me have a lot more fun with the collection because I don't really think about value. And the cards that I do want that are new or they're from Japan, they're cheap. I'm very rarely buying something more than $30 these days to put in my collection because I just buy everything as soon as it comes out, and it's like, yep, $5 card here, $5 card here, $5 card here. I started doing like binders of just the artists, illustrators. Like you know, there's the big ones that did like start off doing stuff like Ken Sujimori, who did like all that original kind of stock art, and then like Mitsuhiro, who drew like the original Charizard that we all know. And I've started doing like just, it's nice to have like a consistent binder full of all their artwork and stuff, which is really cool. And that's part of how I collect. And then I've just got a binder full of cool stuff that I like as well. I'm like, wow, this card's cool. $5. I'll buy that. I'll keep that.
That's fair.
And yeah.
Hashtag amazing rares.
I'll be really angry if they don't continue that series. If they only do it for 2 sets, I'll be really disappointed.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Look, hopefully they don't. Hopefully they continue them, but it's Pokemon Company International. We know how they did with Break. They did it for a couple of sets, and then they were like, this isn't working. And it's like, give it a chance.
I don't necessarily think that they think it's not working. I think that they've kind of just got these things planned for a couple of series. Like they did the Breaks, then they did the Prism Stars, then they did tag teams. These things usually go for about 4 sets. The only time they haven't done it is when they did the secret rare, like collector rares, like they're like a full art version of like common cards from like Cosmic Eclipse. I think that was one they should have definitely continued because it's so simple. They don't need to actually do like any research and development about it. It's just, you know, pay an artist, slap a JPEG on a card, and boom, there you go.
Pay an artist, slap a JPEG, let it go.
Yeah, just slap a JPEG, let it rip. It's easy as that. Like I think that's something that should be in every set. You know, do like 10 or 12 cards like they did, and you know, people would they would love a series of Pikachu, and then, you know, you've got your starter trio. People would love that. I think that would be an awesome little thing to see. Yeah, I have these conversations all the time. I'm like, they didn't complete a trio. There's no Hyper Rare Venusaur, or they didn't do a promo version of like a Moltres when they did an Articuno and a Zapdos, like stuff like that. I just sit there going, why don't they do these? Like complete the trios. My OCD runs haywire when I see stuff like that. I'm like, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna go off on long tangents tonight.
I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely that's the point of this. Is like, I guess you could say it's more like a visual podcast than anything, where we, you know, bring in a guest and the guest is just allowed to get shit off their chest, like allowed to have a chat like that. I've always been under the I guess I've always been under the understanding that if you have somebody on your content, it's because A, they want to be there most of the time. Not always, trust me, not always. But B, because they have things to talk about that are exciting to them, and that means that they're exciting to other people. Because if you like it, other people fucking like it too.
Yeah, I think having, like in any podcast, having someone to bounce off is always great. I don't watch podcasts where it's just one person.
No.
I think someone, who was it? What is it? Like, this is a big example, but like Ethan from H3. I think that his best podcast is when he has guests, and I kind of stopped watching him because he was just doing it solo.
Yeah.
And it's just him there kind of sitting there. And like, he's a great guy. I love his normal content, watched it for years and all that, but I kind of feel like he wasn't shining being there by himself. And that's how all the largest podcasts in the world kind of operate in this day and age. It's always, there's someone else on the other end, someone who's either passionate or some sort of professional or an expert in their field, and they come on and they give them their take. Yeah, it's
because otherwise it's just boring shit. Like I could just listen to myself talk for, for 5 hours and bore the shit out of myself. Why do I want to listen to some other muggle like yammering on about something? It's like, but you're not discussing it with anyone. You're just talking to yourself. Like you're not getting anyone else's opinion. You're not talking about anything that matters. Like I could sit here and talk to people about Digimon for 45 minutes and it would mean shit all because it's me. Like there's no one else to offer a second opinion. There's no discourse there at all. There's no like, oh well, you're right, but I think I've just much the same. I can't stand like the podcast / YouTubers that do it all by themselves, especially when I see box openings too. Like, cool, that's great. Oh, you talk to your audience now. That's great. Except I don't know what the question is because you don't ever read out what the person's question is. You just go, oh, that's a good point, X person, and it's like, what was the fucking point you made? What the fuck are you doing?
Box openings are kind of ruined for me because the person who has to open dozens of cases of the exact same set as a job really quickly. I don't get to enjoy it. Actually, I bought a box of Digimon the other day because we didn't get the early release, but I bought a box of Digimon the other day just to have the experience because I grew up with Digimon as a kid. I remember dragging my mum to take me to the Digimon movie back in the day, all that type of stuff, and I just bought a box of the first set. I had to pre-order it from another store, but I was like, look, I'm going to support a small business. COVID's been pretty rough, so I went to a local game store that they don't have a huge online presence, and I bought a box from them. And I pulled the exact card that I wanted, which made me really, really happy. And Blake's been badgering me to get all the blue cards. He really wanted them so he can play the deck he's been playing with Belmont. Yeah, so really cool. I think that this new Digimon TCG, that Bandai, who they make the Dragon Ball Super TCG, I think that it started off super strong. I'm loving it. I'm loving the artwork. I'm loving how they've designed the boxes. There's a few things I kind of look at it and I go, well, this is going to be a problem in a couple of years' time. And there's the lessons and problems that they've had with Dragon Ball Super as well, which also make me kind of a little bit cautious, but I'm optimistically cautious. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I mean,
Digimon.
It's absolutely funny you mentioned that because this weekend is the first Digimon International webcam tournament. Different regions are going to have their own event. I initially paid my $33 to go in this shitty event, and I am going to call it a shitty event, no matter what the organizers want to tell me that, I'm misunderstanding the prizes. I'm not. I've been in this for 25 years. I've played almost every card game imaginable, and I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I say your prizes are shit. Cool. First place is like a pack of sleeves, 3.0 promo packs that you got at pre-release that you'll be getting again in January, so those prices are going to go down. Everyone in this tournament's going to get one of those promo packs that are going to be worth like $2. They are actually not particularly something that I would consider as part of the prize because they are a throw-in. You get a storage box. Awesome. Don't want it. I've got enough from playing Magic, and even if I didn't, I still wouldn't want it. Like, I've got other ways to store cards that are better than chucking them in a storage box. And a special memory counter. Ooh, that sounds great. None of these things are conducive to a tournament. None of these are prizes for $33. Saying it's $33 because of $3 from the Eventbrite that they charge for their fees, whatever, that's fine. So $30 for a tournament, you're not getting any boosters at all. To me, that's a massive fail when it comes to your tournaments to start off with. That's weak sauce. That's weaker than Dragon Ball Z was, Dragon Ball Super, because when Dragon Ball Super hit, you got those special promo dash packs. There were actually tournament prizes, plus booster packs. This doesn't have either of those.
I mean, the passion that's there. There's definitely passion there. And this is the hot button topic no matter what TCG you go into. The debates and the comments and the furor that comes up when people talk about Yu-Gi-Oh prize support. It's the exact same thing, and everyone's always kind of looking at that and being very critical of it. To a certain, coming from like as someone who's been a tournament organizer and has run events, I can completely understand your misgivings and the issues that a lot of players see behind that. You know, people see a dollar amount and they expect, okay, what does this kind of equate to? What am I getting out of this? Where are the packs in this? And I think it is a balance because, like you said, you're an experienced TCG player. You have some of the similar stuff. But from a tournament organizer perspective, this is the maiden voyage of this TCG and running events. So they probably are trying to think that, you know, maybe we're going to try and do something for everyone. Because I see it with some other events as well. I might look at price support and I go, huh, why is this like this? And how did they get to this line of thinking? You know, was this designed by committee? What was the idea happening with this? And I can look at varying price supports and go, well, I don't really like this. Why would I enter this tournament? And there could be a couple of different reasons. There might not be packs just because no one has packs to a certain extent. Like Digimon being so popular and being so crazy, like I think the boxes, like a sealed box of Series 1 is like $250 at this point.
See,
at least $200.
I'd almost agree with that if TAC Games didn't have boxes live on their site for the last couple of weeks at $150 a pop. So, and the thing is that... See, the thing is that the distributor is selling boxes as well, the Australian distributor. I don't know if they've got the license or not, I'm just going to assume. Selling to the public from their own website, which means that is stock. This is always a problem I've had with distributors selling direct to public, is that distributors should be there to be a distributor and tournament organizer, not people selling product direct after they've sold to stores. The problem with TAC originally that we saw with this was Dragon Ball Super, when had a similar problem. No one could get boxes. TAC still had a bunch of boxes that they were selling for a higher price to the public, and then when they were getting their orders, they were putting their orders up before having the orders processed correctly and sent to stores, so they were having their product up first, which is also a problem because that's something that affects the actual local game stores that you're supposed to be supplying. So I do have a massive issue with that, and they can whinge and bitch about that all they want, but at the end of the day, that looks real bad on them, and it's something that they keep doing. But in saying that, I believe that the prizes were set by Bandai for global, and as much as I get that, when you've got all of those people paying all of that money, I wonder where all that money is going, because I can't fathom why you would run a tournament that's at least in America, where they've got caps of like 256 people. They don't know how many people they're going to get, and I get that, and I'm cool with that. But turning around and saying like we don't have a sliding scale adjustment based on participation is really bizarre. But that's just me.
It could just be that there's massive unanticipated demand, but it's something that they're not going to take lying down. And Bandai being Bandai and having done amazing price support for Dragon Ball Super in the past, I think that they're gonna learn from this. If the sentiments that you're expressing now are expressed by like hundreds of players and they hear that feedback, they'll improve on that. And that's essentially what we do as well as a company.
Mm-hmm.
When we get pushback from something, or when we hear feedback on something, we want to work and make it better, because ultimately we want to serve the community and help people out, and help them have the greatest experience of the hobby that they can. And it's all just a learning process and going back and seeing what can be done better. And it's the beginning. And someone out there, if it's TAC Games, if it's Bandai offering more price support and making sure that more product is made available for it, especially now, like manufacturing. If you've been following basketball, like all sports are delayed.
Everything's delayed. It's not just sports. It's
delayed.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Like it's just crazy. Like especially like everything's delayed on top of demand for collectibles in general just going crazy.
Yeah, because people are at home.
Yeah, people are at home, but that's a huge part of it. People are going back and looking at their nostalgia, really going into their hobbies. I saw a statistic somewhere that Games Workshop had like this crazy growth this quarter, had and crazy revenue, and that's people buying miniatures and painting up miniatures. It's really, really cool, I think, to see that, you know, these hobbies, they're thriving and they're growing. Yeah, I love it. I love being able to see something that they're passionate about, and you know, it fuels content creators like yourself. Like a lot of people, when these hobbies do thrive, people go looking for content. It creates jobs and ads revenue and commercial possibilities for people that want to create content, that want to sell cards, that want to start breaking. It's just a great cycle, and I'm glad it's growing, and I hope it keeps growing.
Exactly. We should probably crack some boosters, shouldn't we?
We should crack some booster packs.
We're getting to that point, and then we'll talk about maybe some dead Tcgs afterwards. Okay, so I don't have these Digimon boosters. Let me just focus in a little bit. Which webcam am I using? C922? There we go. Alright, great. These booster packs have been not really donated, but sort of donated by my friend Maddie. So Maddie went and bought all these boosters from a seller online. And it's funny because we had a discussion about this, about the potential that these might be weighed. He doesn't know, but we're going to check. But yeah, he bought a whole bunch of these and then was like, hey, crack them on your stream for us. And I was like, yeah, we can do that.
I can't remember if the box I opened was 24 packs or 36 packs, but generally the box ratios for Dragon Ball seem to be that you're getting one secret rare, one alternate art secret rare, and I think it was 6 or 7 or 8 super rares.
Something like that, yeah.
Like the artwork on this is just amazing.
Just fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's so much better than Dragon Ball Super, because a lot of Dragon Ball Super, they went in with the premium rarities, but the regular base cards were just screenshots from the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we got Mad Dog Fire and Caramon.
He's the dude from the movie. I remember these, like, the characters vaguely from the series.
I don't remember much at all because this was pretty much still the height craze of Pokemon at this stage when we started playing this. We were buying boosters from, I want to say it was probably Coles or Woolworths up in Queensland. Because I worked at a card shop that was around the corner from one. And all of the kids there started playing Digimon, and we were playing Pokemon. I was a Pokemon professor at the time. Because I was taking another hiatus from Magic, as I tend to do every couple of years. And we played the original of this game. It was pretty good. It was fairly good.
Yeah.
The cartoon was pretty cool. I don't remember a whole lot. So we got a Matt Ishida and Koopamon. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's weird that they've made the human characters rare, in a way. I kind of feel like that's a strange one, to be honest.
It's weird when they went like the focus, and now they're like, oh, we're gonna make them rare, which I guess I kind of get because they're like the Digimon's partner, but it is a bit weird.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna do binder sets of all these Digimon sets.
They just look amazing. That's the thing, like, so I used to dabble a lot. Oh, okay, yeah. I used to dabble a lot in graphic design. And the design on these cards are exactly what I would expect out of Digimon. Like, really cool. They look kind of slightly futuristic, but like weirdly minimalist in the way that they've been done. They're not like overproduced. They're not over-designed, which is really nice. So we got a Venom Modiamon. I can't even say that freaking name. That's weird foiling. That is so weird.
The naming, I can't know. What do you call an equation? It's some of the names of the monster dudes. They're a little bit dumb.
Yeah, they don't work very well. It's just like we just threw some words together, and this should hopefully make it sound like a thing.
and they'll just throw metal or war in front of a name or on the end of a name. It's just Omega. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I like how they've just done like straight color swaps and called it a different character. That's always interesting. Yeah.
So we got a Taiki Kamya, whatever, and Sora. Wow, not a single foil hit yet. Maddie might be right. These might be Wade. So when it comes to like dead TCGs,
Yes.
because you're obviously not as old as I am. Not to be ageist.
I won't hold it against you.
But you've probably seen your fair share of dead TCGs. Force of will.
Yeah.
Especially
that's cool. They're doing fun stuff with like the established characters. Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple I can name off the top of my head. I mean, recently, Transformers TCG that Wizards of the Coast was working on.
Oh boy. We should talk about that.
Yeah. I think the Transformers TCG is a real interesting. It's an interesting thing of why it kind of didn't stick, and I kind of feel like the target IP, the IP that and the demographic is from the 80s. It kind of truly is, and like people's recent interaction with Transformers is through the Michael Bay films, which are kind of. The first one was cool. The rest of them were very, very bad.
Until Bumblebee, let's be honest. Bumblebee was great.
It's a good,
almost redeeming.
Honestly, I'm kind of just waiting for a full like feature-length CGI Transformers film. That I don't know who makes them. Maybe it's a Universal or Paramount, whoever makes them. Just kind of green lights, and I feel like that would be one profitable because and just absolutely insane. It'd be expensive too, I think, because having to do that much CGI. But when you think about it, like, we have that much CGI in movies. It's just instead of having to hire big name actors, you would just CGI everything. It would. I don't know if that would be cheaper or not. Like the only movie I've seen when that happened was someone dragged me to like a Final Fantasy movie.
Oh god.
That was like, it was like a 90-minute long Final Fantasy 15 movie, like a prequel to Final Fantasy 15.
It's like Children of the Atom or whatever it was called.
I can't.
It made
remember.
0 sense. Yeah.
It was really dumb.
It was so dumb.
It was completely CGI.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like, it can be done. And you know, it's like that wasn't a major movie studio that did that. That probably has gajillions of dollars. Anyway, like the point I'm trying to get with is that it could be done, but that's how, like the movies are what Transformers or people that have a recent like interaction with Transformers know about. Maybe the video games, they did Fall of Cybertron as well. Transformers didn't really come in around the time that like trading card games were kind of popularized, like that kind of mid-90s with Magic and early 2000s with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because most other trading card games have kind of spawned off those. And when you look at the big three trading card games, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, two of those are essentially anime merchandise, and one is a dedicated trading card game.
Yeah.
So that stood the test of time.
Well, like,
and
so part of the problem with the Transformers. Oh, and we got an SR, just FYI. Yay!
Oh, cool.
It's a Leopardmon.
I don't know what he's from. I've never seen him before.
No idea.
I pulled that one actually in my box.
Let me just move the Yu-Gi-Oh!
I was like,
we'll get to that later.
Leopardmon. I don't know who it is. Why isn't this Lord Greymon? It's like, I just want Lord Greymon. Is that
so part of the problem with Transformers, it's interesting because when I heard about it, I was like, I hit up Wizards and was like, Henry, get me on this. Like, can you send me some promo product? Oh yeah. Just understand that this is a heavy RNG. It's not made for players that are established in Magic. It's made for kids, and there'll be no tournaments.
If they were gonna aim that at kids, it was very expensive.
Yeah.
My critic, I kind of look at them and go, it was kind of expensive. I think like the boxes, I think retail like 140, 160. They weren't cheap boxes, and the packs kind of didn't have anything. I I don't know. We were opening packs of these boxes one day, and Grayson's a big Transformers fan. And we're kind of just going, it's like, we don't know these characters in a way. I can kind of understand where they've pulled a lot of these characters from, but, like, it wasn't like a visual feast for the eyes like this is. Like, everything here just looks awesome.
Yeah, the Transformers...
We're going to compare Transformers to something.
It all looked the same. It looked overproduced. It looked underthought. Just everything about it was just kind of trashy. It just didn't really work.
Yeah.
And when you turn around and you say, "Oh, we've made this for kids," and it's like, "You what, mate? You've made this for kids, and that's why you're telling us there's no tournaments or anything?" Like, okay, so Wizards, when they originally did Pokemon, they should know by now if they make something for kids and they make tournaments, kids will absolutely flock to it, as well as parents and and late teens. So with the original Wizards of the Coast Pokemon game, as I was saying before, I was a Pokemon professor because I was doing that for Toys R Us out in Brisbane at the time. Ooh, Roseborn.
Yeah.
Really.
So like, it's just a nice, like, the whole artwork looks nice. It takes over the entire card.
It's just
a cool looking card.
It's something you would expect out of like an anime set. But this isn't really like that, like, because usually
they're leaning on Force of Will and Y Schwartz.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Very, very much leaning on it, even though this isn't technically that kind of like, yeah.
And those products look amazing.
Yeah.
Japan, when it comes to just the visual feast for the eye, and I just love saying because it is a feast for eyes. I'm a collector first player. For the most part, and they just do a stand-up job. It's just awesome. It's just amazing. When you look at some of these products and like how diverse the artwork is, how detailed the artwork is, like the artists are getting paid, and yeah, it's just cool. And there's different, and they've got different artwork for the same characters in this set as well, which is really cool. Everyone loves alternate arts. Yeah, just awesome. But yeah, back to Transformers. So I honestly didn't really look too much at kind of the competitive scene for it, or if there was like event.
There was eventually. It was
that probably didn't help.
No, because the game wasn't designed for that. That was part of the problem, is that when they thought about it, it feels like that was a Hasbro like cash grab. And they weren't really thinking about, like, well, maybe we should make this a tournament game. They're like, nah, kids will enjoy it. Kids will love it. And it's like, no, like, kids can't even fucking afford your game, guys. Like, what are you doing? And that's why I couldn't understand it, because I was like, well, just, if you had have thought about it, like, a little bit better, and if you had a planned, like, you could have actually made it something really good with a really cool, like, with the ways that, how they transform could have been really cool, with like, energon cubes, and there's so much stuff you could have done with it, and instead you just made it this like random smash and bash card game that was just basically like smashing two cards together. Like, oh great, that's just so deep. And yeah, apparently they didn't want to like alienate kids, so they didn't want to make it too complicated. It's like, well, actually you kind of should have. Like, you should have stayed kind of a little easier, for sure. But Pokemon's, technically speaking, a complex game. Kids pick it up just fine at the right age. And it feels like they just did not even take it into account, even though they've done games for kids before. It's just, like, bizarre.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting one. And hopefully they do pick it up again, and if they still have the license for it, they revise it, they re-release it, they market it a bit differently, maybe they have to, maybe they just have to take it from a different perspective, and it will do better, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, exactly.
What came out before? Force of Will isn't dead, but Force of Will has had its ups and downs. And that comes down to a lot of like set design and overprinting. And it still exists. It's still around.
Mm.
And when people make the joke, "Oh, Magic's dying, Pokemon's dying, Yu-Gi-Oh's dying," even if these games were to lose a lot of their popularity, and I doubt it's ever going to happen for the big three, to be honest. As much as there's a bit of a negative sentiment towards Magic right now, and I can understand the sentiment and the player base's reasons for that. Some of it's just a bit of hot steam just kind of being blown up, and it's not that big of a deal. Some other issues I kind of feel a bit more strongly about, but these games would never ever go away. They'd still be a product on the shelf. Maybe Transformers comes back as a deck building game, which are popular. I've never played one. I just know that they exist. But yeah, there's deck building games which are basically for people that haven't ever seen them before. It's kind of like it's like you have all the cards in one box.
Yeah.
It's almost like a cube in a way. Yeah.
Yeah. It very much is. So people who like board games will already know what a deck builder is. But for people who don't, it's basically a set number of cards comes in a set box. There is 0 variance because the way that it's set up is that as you play the game, you are building your deck, or sometimes you're building the deck beforehand and you're just battling against people like you would in Magic the Gathering in like a limited environment. But very enjoyable, and definitely need to take a look. Huh. Excuse me while I just block somebody. Blocked, buddy. Take that. Yeah, pretty much. And I know who that person is, because they're using an alias that they've used before. And they're a Magic player from Melbourne. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Magic is, they're doing, we'll talk about that TCG first. So what else is there? Kaijudo, which was Duel Masters originally, and Duel Masters lasted for about couple of years, from maybe 2005 onwards or 2004 onwards.
It's a little bit earlier than that, I think, from memory. I could be wrong, because I was still working in the card shop at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was.
When I was little, I loved Duel Masters. I really liked it. I loved the artwork. I loved the lore. I read the comics. And someone showed me their cards recently, like their childhood cards. And he had like tons of Tarzos and everything in there. And just randomly, and like this stack of fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, he had like the Bolshak Dragon. I was like, I really wanted this as a kid, and you've got one that's basically mint. It's a bit warped, but it's essentially mint. And I'm just sitting there going, oh wow, this is so cool. And I kind of wanted to buy it from him, but I was like, no, maybe not. But I wanted to open a box just for fun of the original set, and I can't find them for under $400. I'm like, if this was like a $100 thing, I would just open this up, no questions asked, and just have some fun with it. But I was like, shit, this is expensive. I do not want to spend that much money on this. And all the other sets, like 500, 600, like somewhere $1,000 for these booster boxes, because there's just none out there.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, and I just went down the rabbit hole one day on the Duel Masters Wikia. Yep, Duel Masters Wikia, and some of the English cards are actually like been reprinted a couple of times in the Japanese sets, because Duel Masters died in the West, but it's still a popular game in Japan. It's one of the most popular games in Japan.
Yeah, I mean that's like it came up on the Cherry stream the other day. And somebody was like, oh, I love that game. What happened? I'm like, nothing happened to it. It's still running. Just not here. Like, just not in English countries. Like, over in Asia, it's still extremely big.
Yeah, and I want to know more about the phenomenon of just all of these trading card game properties existing in Asia, because it's huge. There are so many trading card games that people don't necessarily collect, but they actually go and play all these different types of games. Where over here it's Magic, occasionally Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon locals. Like, I don't really see them fire that much. But like a game store, they're basically their baseline is Magic. and you have like Flesh and Blood, but that's kind of only a year old now. It's going to be interesting to see how Flesh and Blood grows and changes and progresses, and Digimon as well. Like you see a smattering of Dragon Ball Super every now and then, but it is the two big ones are Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic at this point.
Yeah,
And,
which is kind of bizarre to be honest. Like that, I mean, even that Magic has lasted this long with the amount of ups and downs it's had, that it hasn't died is kind of miraculous to be honest.
It grew so quickly, and it did retain those players. And there is like, and I touched on this before. I think it's very hard to ignore the negative sentiments that a lot of people are expressing towards Magic the Gathering at this point. Like you see Mark Rosewater make a tweet, and he gets bombarded, essentially. It's some of it, and people like to complain. People do. They do like to complain. If something that goes wrong, it always has a magnifying glass over it. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, what part of the world you're in, politics, medicine, sports, does not matter. Like negativity kind of breeds everyone giving their 2 cents and throwing their opinions and saying, "Oh, this is dumb, this is stupid, what a bunch of fucksticks," and all that. But it can be a vocal minority. And I kind of did rage quit from Magic this year. I was playing on Arena almost every day, but I kept losing to Dream Trawler and I gave up a bit. So I can understand it, but I kind of look at it as just a phase. Magic will go through phases. Pokemon goes through phases. Yu-Gi-Oh goes through phases, and eventually it does come back around. And I think that people that are designing Magic and doing the playtesting and part of their R&D, they're listening to the loud voices right now, and they're going to make the corrections, and they're going to see how that goes for them. And I think they'll come around to it, and then they never really stop playing. People they don't like Standard, they might go play Commander, they might draft more, they might play Modern. And I think that's what Magic does really well. It gives people alternate ways to play Magic, which is really cool and really awesome. Like, I love the idea of draft.
Yeah,
I think Commander's really cool. If I had more time, I would play Commander.
well, that's my entire quote unquote outside of my normal career is based on Commander. That's how I get preview cards from Wizards and opportunities and stuff, is because I'm, I guess, kind of Australia's horribly so Australia's biggest Commander content creator.
Awesome.
Which is cool, but like, yeah, and that's what's led to a whole bunch of opportunities with Wizards. But like, I find that Commander is my jam because it's casual. Like, because I used to be a tournament grinder. I used to be out there like every weekend going to every 5K and 3K and 1K that I could get my hands on back in the day. To the point where I even became a judge, just so I could make sure that I understood all the rulings and how everything worked and ticked, and my life was magic. And nowadays it's just like, do the odd deck tech here and there, like do a podcast every weekend, do some, actual Commander gameplay, because I just enjoy playing Commander. But, I mean, I've tried doing Arena, and it's not my jam. It's really not my jam.
It's definitely power level issues. People are like, I was watching the videos of people just trying to put 10,000 counters on Scoot Swarm and stuff like that. It is an issue, but I'm very optimistic. I think Magic are gonna listen to the feedback. I think Wizards are a huge company. They're a company with a lot of smart people there. It's going to be, they've gone for a certain idea and a certain vision of what they wanted the game to be. People are not enjoying the interaction that's happening, and they're being very vocal about it, but there's probably a lot of people that are quite happy with it. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the post-COVID environment and paper Magic. I think that at least for Magic product and Magic singles, they're setting themselves up to be a powerhouse, because you have all these cool looking variants, all these alternate arts, the full arts extended borderless things. Everything's a bit more premium now. Like, you've got Commander Legends there, I think, off to the side. I don't know if you're opening that tonight or not.
No.
oh, maybe not tonight, but like that's an amazing product, and people they've got some gripes about a little bit of the power creep in that set, which people always do when it comes to power creep that I've found.
It's Commander, I the thing that I was saying about Jeweled Lotus and Opposition Agent when people were losing their collective shit is like, number one, are you really gonna be like drawing it on turn one? I like, sure, if you draw it on turn, like in your starting hand or within the first 3 turns, really, it's going to accelerate your game plan. But you have to really like specifically play a deck to absolutely benefit from it. You know, Opposition Agent is annoying, but it's absolutely not broken and it can be dealt with. And it's just like, yeah, it's weird because, I mean, as you were saying before, it's basically the vocal minority rather than the non-vocal majority who are, you know, having a bit of a whinge.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to Commander, like, you're going to talk to people and you're going to cater to the power level that you guys want to play at, because it's not a tournament.
Well,
you guys be like, hey, like, I don't want to play against FTK glass cannon bullshit. I want to play fun interactive gaming. Like, okay, I'm going to put away the cancer and bring out fun dragons. Yeah, it's stuff like that. You know,
yeah.
People are adults about it. Like, I saw people playing Commander at a pub. It's the funniest thing ever. It was up near the Old Melbourne Jail.
Oh.
There's a pub. I think, I don't know. It's where Sonny's Fried Chicken is. I can't remember the actual pub attached to Sonny's Fried Chicken, but I went in for like a burger after work one day, and there's 3 guys and they're just playing Commander, and I was like, oh yeah, just speaking to them, and it's like that's who is playing. And I think that a product like Commander Legends, where you have a lot of staples, you have, you know, all these fun things that people can use to bring out the decks, and even when people see the cheap standard cards, like, these cards won't be cheap forever. Magic players and Magic collectors are spoiled on how cheap some of these more premium, hard to pull cards are.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's
gonna
pretty ridiculous because I guess it's a weird one because sometimes the cards are dictated by how good they are in standard, and then other times, like Elder Gargaroth, you know, it's dictated by Commander, which is a bizarre, weird between kind of level. Because you don't really have that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I mean, take this Maximum Gold, for example. I think the top 3 cards are what? Dark Magician, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and I think a trap card. And the rest of the cards are... Sorry?
By price, it's the Blue Eyes, then there's a trap card, and then I think it might be Dark Magician number 3.
Yeah.
The trap card 3, yeah.
We'll, you know what? Let's bust these open. We talk about it anyway. But it's weird because when I think about how Magic prices happen, and don't even get me started on the secondary market and how bad that is in Australia. But it's a weird one because the secondary market's affected by a couple of different things: standard, Commander, and actual art on the card or artist. Not so much with the art and artists these days as it used to be. But yeah, it's just this weird thing. Mediocre Knights. Yeah, like this booster pack, I'm sure.
Yeah, so a set like Maximum Gold, I kind of scratch my head at some of the inclusions, but overall, it's a great set. It's a fun set.
Yeah, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In 20 years, so 15 years.
Yeah,
about 18 maybe.
The alternate art, like that's Australia says an alternate art, like a fan favorite card, but the card's also playable as well. Because the decks, they can be playable, but then people also, they kind of own them as their own pet decks. Like, you know, Elemental Heroes have been relevant for, I think it's like since 2008. They've been like a deck that you could play, and they've always been able to be used. You could take them to locals and still play a version of them, maybe an updated version of them, against people at your locals and still have some fun with them. And when you do win against that tier 1 meta deck that is brand new, you feel like you've got a huge accomplishment, and it adds to the kind of mythos of it all. And did I just drop out there for a second?
No, you're still here.
Okay, it's just the stream that's a bit.
It's probably
I
the
think
stream is a bit
internet's
wonky.
Yeah, it's it adds to the fun of it all when you do, overcome that huge obstacle. Like that Ash Blossom there is like, I think that's a good $15-16-ish card, because that's a card you need 3 of and everyone needs to play. But then you as a collector might look at the Cyber Dragon behind it, which is
it's
another
so shiny.
Yeah, and the artwork looks amazing, and the gold looks awesome. Like these, and like most of these cards in the set are super cheap, but these gold rares that just look amazing, they're undervalued in my opinion. Oh god, there's someone beeping outside. Anyway, get the traffic jam. Yeah, it's like, I think that these are undervalued. I'm gonna collect the ones that I like. I've got the Blue Eyes, the Red Eyes Dark Edition, and I'm gonna put them next to my other old, more expensive, like the OG ones. But I might get these graded because they look cool. And I think Yu-Gi-Oh is starting to lean more into alternate arts and a lot of these new premium rarities of these cards, and they become super expensive. Hopefully they do more alternate art though. Hopefully they branch out into full arts. That would be absolutely insane.
Oh, they really need to. Like, it's weird because Magic is starting to adopt this like old frame stuff more than it used to be. Hey, anti-magic arrow. Because that was the thing about Commander Legends, is that their collector box is the only place to get those foil etched. And those foil etched cards are basically, not to say that they've stolen from Yu-Gi-Oh, but certainly must have been in some way inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh, because they look very like Yu-Gi-Oh foil. And I actually appreciate the flat foil, the etched flat foil, more than the like oily, slick looking, horrible foil that they've been using for years. I'm not a fan.
I really like them as well, actually. I believe it's similar to how hyper rares and secret rares kind of look in Pokemon, and the cold foil variants in Flesh and Blood.
We hit it.
There you go. Big old Blue Eyes, big $40 Blue Eyes, and he looks amazing.
That is
It's just such a fun case
awesome.
card.
I'm gonna have to buy some
kind of
sleeves.
I kind of wish in a way there was more of these gold rares in this set, so it's like a cooler chase, and there's more different variants, or they kind of like they did like a Blackluster Soldier or a Chaos Emperor Dragon. But I think it's just more fun for next time.
Yeah, that's probably like they're probably just gonna split them over a couple of sets, like a couple of different maxims, I'd imagine. I don't remember what was in the last one. I paid no attention to Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time. All I remember doing is like the other day, I was probably a couple of months ago, I was looking up prices because somebody was like, oh hey, I just found your old Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you sold me. And I was like, oh yeah, that had like Pot of Greed and stuff in it. And I looked it up, like first edition Pot of Greed, and I was like, I think I'm just gonna go and cry in the corner for a bit.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Old Yu-Gi-Oh! Has really gotten expensive. There are cards that we were buying at the start of the year for $100 that are now like graded cards, because graded Yu-Gi-Oh! Really didn't have much of a presence.
No, not until COVID hit.
Yeah, definitely. And then like it's only really in the last couple of months have I started seeing graded Yu-Gi-Oh! In groups, and people are paying like $100 for a PSA 9 or a PSA 10 version of like a Dark Magician reprint and stuff like that. I'm just going, oh my god, it's starting. People are starting to kind of go for it, and because people never really did grade Yu-Gi-Oh cards back in the day, and there aren't a lot of graded cards out there. The ones that do exist are now stupidly expensive because there's no supply and everybody wants them.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to the whole like, the first edition Blue Eyes deck and stuff like that that somebody found recently in like just in like a random box in their house, and it's like looking at the prices of that stuff now, it's just like, oh yeah, well, that's worth a little bit of money now. Like,
yeah, it's insane. I think a first edition sealed starter deck Kaiba, the North American version, not the Australian version. Please don't yell at me when you bring me an Australian version if you can find them, and I offer you less. is because they did different versions for each different region, and
Yeah.
the cards are actually different. But yeah, anyway, the North American one I think is like a 5 or it's around 5 to 8 grand,
Yeah.
depending on how damaged it is. 'Cause I have an Australian one that's sealed, and it looks like it's been someone sat on it, and I just bought it for like a little bit years and years ago. But no, that's even money. It's just insane. Yeah,
Somebody probably
it
did
definitely
sit on it.
insane. Like PSA 10 first edition, Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon, sold for I think it was 60 or 90,000 recently on the PW Fools auction. That's a lot of kebabs.
It's a lot of kebabs.
That's a lot of kebabs. I just measure everything in terms of kebabs.
Well, so you should. I've said it for years. Like, you don't have to be drunk to enjoy a kebab. Kebabs are all time.
I've really been going for souvlaki's lately because the kebabs have got like all the nitrates and shit in there. So I just get like I go find a Greek place and there goes to meat off the spit.
That's fair. All right.
Yu-Gi-Oh's blowing up. Everyone knows Pokemon's gone to the moon. It's clinched a little bit, and people are going after stuff from dead card games. You know, like Pokemon breakers are finding Wizards of the Coast Harry Potter stuff and selling it. It's insane. It's actually just insane what.
There's some Star Trek Next Gen card game up there.
Definitely. There's like I want to buy Duel Masters boxes and open them for fun. I just don't want to spend a ton of money on them.
Yeah, exactly. I think I did find some. There is some Harry Potter boosters behind me there somewhere. I should probably dig those out and see what they're actually worth these days.
Yeah, well, I think there is a fair bit of them out there, but they're fun to open. Like it's cool artwork. Yeah, it's just awesome.
A shame about the creator. Other than that, though,
that's the good thing about the Harry Potter TCG. If you want to go collect it, it's like prototypes when artists were probably given like 2 lines to describe how something is meant to be drawn, and they basically said, "Oh yeah, let's see how it goes," and it probably invokes that early first 2 novels and first 2 movies era where they just kind of were slapping Harry Potter and Harry Potter
throwing shit at the wall. There's like some really great. I think it was Christopher Rush did some like really cool artwork from memory on the Harry Potter card game, and yeah, pretty much like. I remember an interview where he was saying that the briefing was nothing like what they would get for Magic. It was just basically like, hey, it's Harry Potter, it's a wizard doing this, just do it. Like, just come up with something cool. Letting them off the leash a little bit.
It's probably like 5 people that have to sit on the community that talk to another community that have to tell 10 other people how long the ears and a house elf probably have to be in the next movie, where a house elf shows up for 5 minutes or a scene in the background. Everything's designed by community these days, and I think there's a lot of red tape, and 2, it's just I don't know, it doesn't have that kind of authenticity.
Every time somebody mentions house elf, the only thing I can think of is Master gave Dobby a sock.
Dobby free. It's
Dobby is a free elf.
They're nice, comfy movies to watch. They've got good rewatchability.
Yeah.
That and Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Pretty much.
They just don't make movies like that anymore.
Of course they don't. I wish they did, but I mean, look at Crystal Skull. Like, nope.
Definitely, that'll wheel that. I guess they're not going to really wheel out Indiana Jones anytime soon. Maybe in 40 years when they want to really.
I reckon they're going to probably get on another movie soon. I think it's going to be a correction to the shitty last one. I'm hoping it's going to be Harrison just like basically palming off the reins to someone else for something else would be nice, but I guess we'll see.
After Star Wars and Blade Runner, I think he might.
That would be very fair.
Just going back as his old self, it's like again. Just write me a role, but I don't have to go back as like old me. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for coming on. I hope you've had a lot of fun. I know I've had heaps of fun. And we definitely cover more dead TCGs next time we have you on in the future. But as for now, pimp yo shit. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I was confused. Sorry.
It's
All right. I might jump off then. I'm gonna go home and collapse in bed.
I'll pimp your shit for you then. So people can catch you on Cherry Collectables over, well, sometimes I guess during the gaming hours.
I yell at Blake and Ben during streams almost every day, and then yeah, I'm in the gaming hour a little bit more now. So tomorrow night I'll probably be on if someone wants to come and say hi or whatever and ask me questions. I'm happy to answer any questions about any TCG stuff you might have.
So send all the questions that way. So it'll be twitch.tv/Cherry Collectables and youtube.com/Cherry Collectables or cherrycollectables.com.au. Damian, thank you very much for hanging out, man. It's good to hang.
Cheers, Chesh. Yeah. I'll be on again soon.
Yeah. Alright, everyone. Catch you all later.
See you later, goodness.